Hello everyone. Today we'll take a look at the best budget camera phone in 2021 and beyond. I made this list based on my personal opinion, and my goal here is to help you find the right one for your needs. For the best prices and more information about these phones, check out the links in the description below. Before we start, I have a question for you guys. Which smartphone are you using, and how do you like the camera? Let me know in the comments. Xiaomi Redmi Note 10 Pro. There really is no phone quite like the Redmi Note 10 Pro. For starters, you've got that camera with its huge megapixel count of 108 megapixels, which is a huge number, let alone this phone's starting price. More than just empty specs, the Note 10 Pro takes fantastic photos with a shallow depth of field, grabs stacks of detail, and shoots video up to 4K resolution. Believe it or not, the imaging credentials of the Redmi Note 10 Pro get better when you factor in the secondary cameras. There's an 8 megapixel ultra-wide camera for GoPro-style expansive photos, and there's a telemacro camera, normally reserved for pricier phones. This 5 megapixel sharpshooter might not pack the pixel counts of the main ultra-wide cameras, but for anyone who likes close-up photography, it's a treat. Capable of capturing glorious textures and macro photos inaccessible to most smartphones. More than just a camera phone, the Note 10 Pro runs MIUI 12 based on Android 11 and packs 64 gigabytes of inbuilt storage that can be expanded via microSD card up to 512 gigabytes with a dedicated slot. The Redmi Note 10 Pro is a dual SIM mobile that accepts nano SIM and nano SIM cards. The phone measures 164.5 by 76.15 by 8.1 millimeters and weighs 192 grams, and it is available in dark night, glacial blue, and vintage bronze colors. Connectivity options on the Redmi Note 10 Pro include Wi-Fi 802.11 ABGN-AC, GPS, infrared, USB Type-C, 3G and 4G. And the sensors on the phone include an accelerometer, ambient light sensor, compass and magnetometer, gyroscope, proximity sensor, and fingerprint sensor. The 25,000 mAh battery on the phone lasts more than a day on a single charge, even when the always-on display is enabled. The 33-watt fast charging is also good, and it's able to recharge the phone in about an hour or so. So, if you decide to spend some money on this product, you get a pretty good-looking phone with a good, smooth display experience, some decent camera performance, and a battery life that will help you through both easy and rough times. Google Pixel 5a. Google Pixel 5a 5G Mobile was launched on the 17th of August 2021, and as far as cameras are concerned, the Google Pixel 5a 5G on the rear packs a dual camera setup featuring a 12.2 megapixel primary camera with an f1.7 aperture and a 16 megapixel camera with an f2.2 aperture. The camera on this device is a joy to use. All it really requires you to do is carefully compose the shot and let the software do the rest. Zoomed photos are also possible, but they are cropped from the main camera since there's no dedicated zoom shooter. Google's night sight normally kicks in automatically when it needs to, and you will know by the little moon symbol that appears over the shutter button. The 8 megapixel selfie camera takes selfies with pleasing colors, accurate skin tones, and there is some flattering skin smoothing going on, but it can be disabled if you prefer. And the video quality is also very good. It supports 1080p at 30 and 60 frames per second and 2160p at 30 and 60 frames per second in regular video, and 1080p at 120 frames per second and 720p at 240 frames per second in slow motion. Apart from the camera, the phone comes with a 6.34-inch touchscreen display with a resolution of 1080 by 2400 pixels and an aspect ratio of 20:9. Google Pixel 5a is powered by an octa-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 765G processor, and it also comes with 6 gigabytes of RAM. The Google Pixel 5a runs Android 11 and is powered by a 4,680 mAh battery, which also supports fast charging. The phone measures 154.9 by 73.7 by 7.6 millimeters and weighs 183 grams. Connectivity options on the Google 5a 5G include Wi-Fi, GPS, Bluetooth 5.0, NFC, and USB Type-C. The sensors on the phone include accelerometer, ambient light sensor, barometer, compass and magnetometer, proximity sensor, and fingerprint sensor. So, if you're looking for a 5G phone that delivers outstanding performance and features for the price, the Pixel 5a should be the top contender. Realme 8 Pro. The Realme 8 Pro houses a 108 megapixel primary rear camera, which isn't very common in this price range. It also has an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, a 2 megapixel macro camera, and a 2 megapixel black and white camera. The camera app UI is easy to use, and you won't have any issues finding the right setting. There is a quick toggle to enable AI scene enhancement, and when enabled, the phone is quick to detect any scene and set it up accordingly. You do have the option to shoot full 108 megapixel resolution, and the phone takes slightly longer to capture the shot. Photos shot at this resolution had better details. If you want to drop into a photo after shooting, you would be better off using this resolution. Close-ups are also good, and the phone does manage a soft depth of field effect around the subject. Selfies taken with the Realme 8 Pro were crisp, and the phone managed to capture sharp shots in most lighting conditions. Video recording tops out at 4K for the primary camera, but it lacks stabilization at this resolution. Footage shot at 1080p isn't stabilized by default, and you need to enable Ultra Steady mode manually. Other than all this, the Realme 8 Pro features a 6.4-inch Super AMOLED display which has a full HD Plus resolution of 2400 by 1080 pixels. The smartphone display has a pixel density of 409 pixels per inch. The Realme 8 Pro has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 720G processor, which seems to work out fine for the smartphone. It was capable of handling most tasks that were thrown at the smartphone, and didn't buckle under pressure. The battery of the Realme 8 Pro could be called one of its better features. It features a 4500 mAh battery which supports 50-watt fast charging, and the company is offering a 65-watt charger also in the box. The smartphone survives a day, with heavy usage that involves over 8 hours of screen time, with light use such as social media, playing and watching videos, using the camera, playing games, and just idling the display. This is definitely better than most smartphones with similar battery capacities, so Realme 8 Pro is a good value phone with a strong primary camera and fast charging. If you're interested in seeing more videos like this one, please consider subscribing to the channel. Samsung Galaxy A52 5G. Samsung Galaxy A52 5G Mobile was launched on the 17th of March 2021, and it has a 64-megapixel primary sensor with an f1.8 aperture, optical image stabilization, and the autofocus replaces the 48-megapixel sensor that shipped with the Galaxy A51. The remaining lenses on both phones have the same specs, a 12-megapixel ultra-wide lens with f2.2 aperture, 5-megapixel depth and macro lenses with f2.4 apertures, and a 32-megapixel front-facing camera. Daylight test shots are crisp with excellent foreground detail, and low-light shots also have similar results. The 32-megapixel selfie camera performs well in just about any lighting scenario. There is no telephoto camera here, so zoom quality degrades quite quickly. The Galaxy A52 5G captures 4K videos at 30 frames per second with its primary and ultra-wide cameras. The mainstream 1080p mode at 30 frames per second is available for both, while 1080p at 60 frames per second works only on the main camera. Some other specifications of the phone are: the phone comes with a 6.5-inch touchscreen display with a resolution of 1080 by 2400 pixels and an aspect ratio of 20:9. The Samsung Galaxy A52 5G is powered by a 1.8 GHz octa-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 750G processor that features 2 cores clocked at 2.2 GHz and 6 cores clocked at 1.8 GHz. It also comes with 6 GB of RAM. The phone runs Android 11, and the Galaxy A52 5G is a dual SIM mobile that accepts nano SIM and nano SIM cards. The Galaxy A52 5G measures 159.9 by 75.1 by 8.4 millimeters and weighs 189 grams with an IP67 rating for dust and water protection. Connectivity options on the Galaxy A52 5G include Wi-Fi, GPS, USB Type-C, 3G, and 4G. The sensors on the phone include accelerometer, ambient light sensor, compass/magnetometer, gyroscope, proximity sensor, and an in-display fingerprint sensor. You also have 4500 mAh of battery capacity in the A52, a generous amount of room for a phone of this price. On the whole, the Samsung Galaxy A52 5G is a scrappy mid-ranger that offers a lot of value, far more than its predecessor. Xiaomi Poco F3. The Poco F3 GT packs a triple camera setup at the back consisting of a 64-megapixel primary camera, an 8-megapixel ultra-wide-angle camera, and a 2-megapixel macro camera, and the camera app is pretty straightforward and easy to use. It has a quick toggle for AI scene detection and HDR. Switching between different shooting modes is very easy, and also lets you activate filters before taking a shot. Daylight shots have decent detail, but the F3 GT tends to sharpen them, which makes them look artificial sometimes. Close-up shots taken with the Poco F3 GT have good detail, and the phone applies a soft depth of field effect. Selfies taken with the 16-megapixel look crisp, and video recording tops out at 4K at 30 frames per second for the primary camera. The Poco F3 GT boasts powerful hardware, and it is powered by the MediaTek Dimensity 1200 SoC and is offered in 6GB and 8GB RAM options, both with 128GB of storage. And there's also an 8GB RAM, 256GB storage option. The big 6.67-inch AMOLED display sports a full HD Plus resolution and a 120Hz refresh rate. There is support for HDR10+, and the panel has a 240Hz touch sampling rate, which gets bumped up to 480Hz when game mode is enabled. There is support for 5G as well as 4G LTE, Bluetooth 5.1, and dual-band Wi-Fi. Also works with 5 satellite navigation systems. The Poco F3 GT packs a huge 5065 mAh battery and comes with a 67-watt fast charger in the box. The charger is bigger than usual and has a bright yellow cable with an L-shaped Type-C connector. This makes it easy to play games and watch content while the phone is charging. All that said, if the camera is your primary preference, then you should take Poco F3 into your consideration without a miss. So there you have it, folks. Feel free to pick the one that fits you best from the description below. See you next time, and thank you for watching.